17,000 fans packed into Washington to watch women's hockey. The Sens lost in overtime, and suddenly Greenland is back at the center of world politics. It's Monday, January 19th, 2026. Let's get into it. Quick Ottawa weather. Expect snow at times, a high of -4 degrees Celsius and a low of -22 degrees Celsius. Women's hockey is having a moment. In Washington, the New York Sirens edged Montreal Victoire 2-1 at Capital One Arena in front of 17,228 fans, reported as a record attendance for a professional women's hockey league game in the United States. That's not just a number. It's a signal of where the sport is headed. Closer to home, Ottawa's PWHL team is on the road at Place Bell in Laval, taking on Montreal in a game carried by CBC. If you're still riding the high from the U18 Women's Worlds, you're not alone. Team USA just became the first to win perfect gold, never trailing and never tied after 0-0. TSN's Sami Joe Small spotlighted goalie Bianca Birrittieri's poise against Canada. The pipeline is strong, and the pro game is capitalizing. Ottawa-Montreal is turning into one of those must-watch rivalries. To the NHL, the Leafs snapped the Jets' win streak 4-3 in overtime. Max Domi buried the winner off an Austin Matthews feed, and Dennis Hildeby stopped 27 as Toronto closed a cold prairie trip 2-1-1. In Detroit, it was heartbreak for Ottawa. Alex DeBrincat scored 36 seconds into overtime to beat the Senators 4-3, his team leading 26th. The Red Wings have now won 6 of 7 and are 9-4 in overtime. And keep an eye on Patrick Kane. He's within 2 points of Mike Modano's all-time mark for U.S.-born players. For the Sens, the frustration is boiling over. After a loss to the Canadiens, in which Ottawa carried play but couldn't close, Jake Sanderson spoke bluntly about the goaltending, saying you need more than 10 saves to win, a pointed comment that sparked debate. Leevi Meriläinen's recent run sits around an .847 save percentage, and that's putting real pressure on any playoff push. You can hear the room getting tense. This is where coaching staffs earn their money, stabilizing the crease and keeping the group connected. If there's a silver lining, it's that Ottawa is generating enough to win. Now they have to get the timely stop. At City Hall, Councillor Glenn Gower is urging the province to keep Regina Street School open, making the case for local education stability. He's also thanking residents and city crews for tackling the snow and respecting parking bans. 2 quick community notes. Council has approved plans for a new Ottawa Catholic School Board elementary school, and the new city zoning bylaw is headed to Council for discussion. Worth watching if you care about how and where Ottawa grows. And if you can lend a hand, Stittsville residents are being encouraged to join the Coldest Night of the Year walk, supporting Lionhearts Inc. Ottawa. Nationally and internationally, Greenland is suddenly in the headlines again. According to reports, Prime Minister Mark Carney is weighing whether to send Canadian soldiers to Greenland for Danish-led military exercises with NATO allies, exercises not formally under NATO's mission umbrella. This follows reported threats from U.S. President Donald Trump to impose tariffs on several European countries, starting at 10% on February 1 and rising to 25% by June 1, if the U.S. isn't allowed to purchase Greenland. Canada and European allies have publicly backed Denmark's position that Greenland isn't for sale and emphasized sovereignty and territorial integrity. The EU is said to be preparing potential retaliatory measures. Some reporting also alleges the White House is using domestic pressure tactics tied to protests, claims which continue to draw scrutiny. What does this mean here in Ottawa? If tariffs escalate, federal departments, embassies, and local firms tied to transatlantic supply chains could feel the turbulence. And geopolitically, the Arctic is only getting more strategic as climate change reshapes access and infrastructure. Denmark's move to bolster security in Greenland is being read by some analysts as a message to Washington as much as to Moscow or Beijing. It's a fast-moving file. We'll keep tracking verified updates. On the democracy front, new survey data shows about 70% of Canadians remain satisfied with how democracy works here, remarkably steady over 15 years. Trust in core institutions like elections and the Supreme Court is holding, though there's a slight uptick in distrust of mass media. At the same time, investigative reporting has detailed how certain countries have allegedly found more success influencing the Trump administration via financial gifts or investments, including cryptocurrency, benefiting Trump or close associates rather than through traditional diplomacy. Those allegations, if borne out, raise thorny questions for policymakers about ethics rules, foreign interference, and the regulation of digital assets. Add in the accelerating role of AI, both as a tool for analysis and as a vector for synthetic influence, and media literacy is going to be a competitive advantage for citizens in 2026. If you're looking for smart, ongoing coverage as these stories evolve, CBC News Network's Natasha Fatah and Wendy Gilmore are highlighting the latest breaking developments across CBC platforms, cbcnews.ca, the CBC News app, and on air. Back to where we started. Women's hockey is filling big barns. Ottawa's rivalry with Montreal is heating up in Laval on CBC, and the Sens have decisions to make in goal if they want to turn close losses into points. Meanwhile, Arctic geopolitics are coming to the fore just as winter reminds us who's boss. That's all for today. If you're heading out, bundle up. Snow at times, a high near -4 degrees Celsius, dipping to -22 degrees Celsius overnight. We'll be back tomorrow with more local Ottawa news, national context, and a close eye on the Sens.